When Dota 2 first came out in 2011, the trailer asked players a question.
What does a hero truly mean?
And now, 9 years later, the answer you've all been waiting for. Town Portal Scroll. Always carry a Town Portal Scroll. Today we talk about the most important item in the game. Some people think wards are the most important item in the game, but that's not true. I can imagine a game of Dota without wards. It's literally every game when I don't play support. But I cannot imagine a game of Dota without teleport scrolls. TP Scroll is a single-use consumable item which can be bought from the main store. To use it, target one of your side structures, and after a 3-second channel, you will teleport to that structure. Mana cost is 75, cooldown is 80 seconds. This seems like a very straightforward ability, but its game implications are endless. Allow me to explain. When the game starts, every hero has 3 TP scrolls in their inventory, but they start on cooldown. This means that you are pretty much forced to commit to a lane at the very beginning of a game to make sure you don't miss out on any XP. Once the game starts and TPs are off cooldown, any hero can, at any time, switch to a different lane at will. This is most useful in the laning phase for a counter gank. When an enemy is switching lanes to gank one of your heroes and you spot that rotation, you can instantly teleport to that location to respond and kill the ganking hero instead. On the other hand, using a teleport to move to a different lane will leave the previous one undefended, and since your TP is now on cooldown, you will have to walk back to defend it. One of the most common uses of the TP scrolls you get at the start is to use one to return to the lane after you just died. For carries, this is an okay play as you want to return to the lane as soon as possible to not miss out on golden XP. However, be very careful of dying immediately after you teleport in. If you quickly die again, you will now be forced to walk your way back to the lane, losing a ton of golden XP in the process, and since you've already died twice, that's pretty much the lane lost right there. For supports, because you have very little disposable income, you need to be much more careful about your TP scroll usage. In a classic dual lane setup, I can understand why you would want to instantly teleport back to your lane to help protect your carry. However, by offensively teleporting to your lane as a support, you lose your ability to rotate to a different lane defensively for quite a long time. One of the worst things you can do as a support early on is to just stand behind your lane's carry and look at him last hit, while on the other side of the map, the enemies are tower diving your team. A quick TP there from you would turn things around, but if it's on cooldown, you end up just being a waste of space in the wrong place. TP Scroll can also be used defensively to avoid death. If your hero is being chased by enemies, and you can't get away by running, try hiding in the trees and quickly double tapping your TP Scroll to try and escape back to base. This will give you valuable milliseconds of time where you're not visible to enemies. If your enemies don't see you teleport away, they will then waste time looking for you in the trees. Space created. Of course, to be able to do this, you have to be carrying a TP Scroll in the first place. Always carry a Town Portal Scroll. If they do see you, they can attempt to kill you before the channel completes. Or they can cancel the channel with a stun, so be careful of that. Canceling the TP channel still puts TP Scroll on cooldown even if you didn't teleport. To avoid this from happening, wait for your enemies to use all their stuns first, then teleport away safely. That bounty hunter just blow his shuriken toss on you at the start of a gank? See you later! Being able to dodge enemies like this is amazingly strong early on, as you prevent these heroes from snowballing out of control. As the game progresses, however, and you start being in teamfights with multiple heroes, this strategy becomes less effective, as enemy heroes are more likely to now have at least one stun available, or they can simply focus you down and kill you before the teleport channel completes. Now, when you defensively teleport, you most commonly just double tap the hotkey to return to base. However, if you have time to think about it, consider teleporting to a different lane instead. This will allow you to still avoid a gank while not losing any time away from farm. This is useful for carries throughout the game, and especially offlaners early on can push deep into enemy lines to trade hits with the enemy heroes, then TP back to their tower for protection. Add a healing self to fill yourself back up to full health and you're golden. Next, several abilities can be used while the TP channel is ongoing. Most notably, invisibility escape abilities like Shadow Blade, Nyx Assassin's Vendetta, and Bounty Hunter Shadow Walk can all be activated during a TP Scroll channel. Templar Assassin's Meld is an exception. Extreme mobility escapes like Storm Spirit's Ball Lightning, Morphling's Waveform, and Slark's Pounce allow you to use TP Scroll during their animation. Also, for some reason, you can cast Blade Fury while teleporting. Dota 2. Let's talk a little more about defensive response TPs. For supports early on, a defensive teleport response to a gank is one of the best things you can do. Of course, to do it correctly, you need to be aware of what's going on in the map at all times, and where allied and enemy heroes are. This means that as a support, you need to constantly be checking what's going on in other lanes aside from your own, while still doing the default support stuff like warding and stacking. If you spot an ally getting ganked, you now have to carefully calculate your course of action. First and foremost, can you actually help? Mentally calculate if your ally will still be alive in the 3 seconds it takes for you to teleport there. If so, go for it. If not, well, game is hard. It's not worth putting your teleport on cooldown to teleport to someone who's already dead, because you might even die yourself too, and also leave the lane you were in unguarded. If you're not sure how a gank is going to turn out, you can always start a TP, then cancel it with a stop command, default S, if things go wrong. Furthermore, when teleporting in to assist, the position of your teleport is very important. You can choose to aggressively teleport at the front of your tower to scare enemies off, or you can teleport in the trees nearby to hide your presence and bait enemy heroes in to kill them while they're under your tower. If you can get used to responding to enemy attacks with teleports, you will gain map awareness through constantly looking at the map for a possible rotation. It also has a positive psychological effect on your team. If your allies see you teleporting in when they get ganked, they know that their supports have their back, and are more likely to play aggressively and gain momentum towards a win. Of course, this is all irrelevant if you forget to buy TP Scroll. Always carry a TP Scroll. That's only level 1 of the TP Scroll discussion so far. The opposite of this is trigger-happy supports who instantly teleport to a lane the second they see someone near their tower. As the teleport has a large cooldown, it's a big commitment and should not be used carelessly, because bringing too many heroes to one lane leaves the other side of the map undefended. Also, there's an additional mechanic when teleporting into a tower, where the first teleport takes 3 seconds, but then the next one takes 5 seconds, and every TP after that adds half a second to the channel time. This means that by sending your entire team in to defend a single objective, this will take time, and the enemy heroes can just walk away. If you don't get a kill out of it, it's a massive space creator for enemies on the other side of the map. As your teleports will be on cooldown, any lone heroes visible on the map are now prime targets for a gank, as no one can come in to defend them. Another game-winning strategy later is to stick around an enemy core on the wrong side of the map as a roaming support. Many times they will delay showing up to a fight to get a few more last hits. If you're there when they teleport into a fight to defend, you can cancel their TP with a stun. This will remove them from the fight and likely turn it in your favor. The best way to train how to manage your teleport cooldowns is to play as, or against, a split-pushing hero like Clinks, Nature's Prophet, or Broodmother. These heroes excel at pushing buildings alone, so anytime TPs are on cooldown, they have free reign to take down your whole base. This technique is also known as Rat DOTA, first popularized by 2013 Pro Team Alliance in TI3. In their game-winning play known as the $1 Million Dream Coil, S4's Puck used his ultimate to cancel Na'Vi's defensive TPs, leaving their base open to attack. It became an infamous playstyle because it's considered dishonorable to not engage enemies in a true teamfight and just take their buildings behind enemy lines. But that is not the case. A good split pusher simply abuses an existing rule to its full potential and capitalizes on TP Scroll's long cooldown to bait you into being on the wrong side of the map. It's up to the players defending to react accordingly and not overcommit. That is, if you're even carrying a TP Scroll in the first place. Too many times I've seen good players forget to carry an extra TP when pushing, leaving their base open to attack when the enemy split pusher checks their inventory and sees an empty TP Scroll space. You can check if your side's heroes have TPs or not by holding down the Alt key under their hero portraits. If they don't, shame them by pinging their empty TP spot until they buy one to shut you up. This is also a good way to check your overall team's availability to respond to a gank. If you see all your team's TPs are on cooldown, you should probably avoid pushing a lane alone. Finally, you might upgrade your TP Scroll by changing your boots to Boots of Travel. These boots give you a very high passive movement speed, but most importantly, dramatically decrease your teleport cooldown and allow you to teleport onto allied units as well. You can then rebuy the recipe to upgrade to level 2 Boots of Travel, now allowing you to teleport onto allied heroes as well. As this item is very expensive and gives no stats, it's most effective in the very late game against split-pushing heroes as a quick way to either defend or push. Bear in mind that if your teleport targeted creep dies, the TP is cancelled and put on cooldown. And now you know how to use Town Portal Scroll. See you next time.